still exhausted, despite, the sleep tests, the apps, maybe even those really expensive pillows.
Hmm.
What if? What if the very people selling you all that stuff are actually, like, fueling your fatigue?
It's a provocative thought, isn't it?
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to cut through some of that noise. We're looking at what might really be keeping you from truly restful sleep.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable how certain ideas about sleep
Mm-hmm.
get logged in and become common knowledge,
Totally.
often without the solid science you'd expect. Let's maybe tackle one of the biggest ones first.
Ooh, let me guess. The magic 8 hours.
Exactly, the 8-hour rule.
It's everywhere. But I saw this UC San Diego genetics study found something like 13% of people, they actually thrive on just 6 hours.
That's right, there's a genetic component for some short sleepers. And that 8-hour standard, well, where did it come from?
Yeah, the interesting part.
Yeah.
Some link it back to, like, 19th century factory owners trying to standardize work schedules.
Precisely. It wasn't necessarily based on deep biological understanding for everyone, more about industrial needs.
So not exactly personalized sleep science.
Not at all. These kinds of blanket recommendations, they often just miss the mark for individuals, chasing some arbitrary number. That could actually create stress.
Right, stress. And that brings us neatly to the next thing, sleep trackers.
Ah, yes. The wearables.
On the surface, they seem super helpful, right? Giving you all this data, graphs.
Mm-hmm. Data overload sometimes.
But the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine, they actually identified this condition, or orthosomnia.
Orthosomnia, yeah. Basically an unhealthy obsession with achieving perfect sleep stats.
An obsession. So instead of helping, it makes things worse.
It often can. Think about it. You're already having trouble sleeping, maybe feeling anxious about it.
Okay.
And now you're adding this pressure, this need to hit specific numbers, specific deep sleep minutes, REM cycles.
Yeah, I can see that.
That anxiety itself, it can completely sabotage your sleep. You end up focusing so much on the tracker's numbers, you ignore how your body actually feels.
It becomes this, like, vicious cycle,
Exactly.
which kind of leads us to another, maybe more concerning area, long-term sleep meds.
Right. Prescription medications.
Now, obviously, this isn't medical advice. Everyone's situation is different. But there was some leaked data, apparently from Harvard, back in 2023.
Yes, I saw reports on that.
It suggested a significantly higher risk, like maybe 300% higher risk of dementia for people using Ambien long-term.
That figure was reported, yes. And it certainly warrants attention and further investigation into long-term effects.
And something else to maybe consider, isn't a lot of sleep research funded by Big Pharma?
Well, some estimates put industry funding at around 70% for sleep research, which, does raise potential questions.
Questions about conflicts of interest, like
Yeah.
what gets studied or how results are presented.
Potentially, yes. It's just something to be aware of in the background.
Okay, so if the standard advice, the trackers, the pills, if they aren't always the answer, or might even have downsides, what actually works? What are some, science-backed alternatives?
Good question. Let's shift gears. One powerful idea is ditching the clock.
Ditching the clock, like just ignore time.
Kind of, yeah. Your body's natural sleep-wake cycle, your circadian rhythm, it doesn't really run on clock time. It runs on light, on internal cues.
Okay.
Constantly checking the time, especially when you can't sleep, it just ramps up the anxiety. Oh no, it's 2 a.m., now it's 3 a.m.
Guilty. So how do you ditch it? Practically.
The idea is a reset. You can try this for, say, 3 days. No checking the time at all, especially at night.
3 days.
Go to bed only when you feel genuinely physically tired. And crucially, wake up without an alarm clock. Let your body decide when it's had enough sleep.
Let your body decide. Sounds liberating, actually. But maybe hard to do with work schedules.
It can be challenging, true. Maybe try it over a weekend or vacation first. The goal is to let your body rediscover its own natural rhythm.
Okay, what else? You mentioned science-backed stuff.
Right. Embrace the cold.
Cold, like sleep in a cold room.
Exactly. There were some Swedish trials suggesting that sleeping in a cooler room, maybe around 57 degrees Fahrenheit, that's about 14 Celsius.
Whoa, that's quite cool.
It is cool, but it seemed to trigger significantly more deep sleep, like potentially up to 32% more.
Why does that work?
A drop in core body temperature is actually a natural signal for your body to initiate sleep. A cool room helps facilitate that process and seems to promote those deeper restorative stages.
Interesting. Okay, ditch the clock, get cold. Anything else?
Nutrition plays a huge role, something that might surprise people. Consider eating your carbs at dinner.
Carbs at dinner, isn't that the opposite of what most diets say?
Often, yes, But carbohydrates can help your brain produce tryptophan. And tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin and melatonin key sleep hormones.
Oh, okay, so it helps you wind down.
Exactly. And here's another one, maybe even more counterintuitive.
Okay.
Steak for breakfast.
All right.
Or at least a good protein source early in the day. Steak is great because it can help spike dopamine. Dopamine is crucial for daytime alertness, focus, drive.
Okay, alertness during the day. How does that help sleep at night?
It helps establish a stronger contrast between your on state during the day and your off state at night. A more robust daytime signal helps regulate the whole 24-hour cycle. It really flips a lot of modern diet advice, light breakfasts, heavy dinners.
It really does. Carbs at night, steak in the morning. It's about working with your body's natural signals.
Precisely, supporting those biological rhythms.
Okay, this is all great alternative stuff. But what if someone is seeing a sleep doctor? How can you tell if maybe you're not getting the best advice? Are there red flags?
There can be. One potential red flag. If a doctor immediately jumps to prescribing pills.
Before checking other things.
Exactly. Before checking basics like your iron levels or your thyroid function, deficiencies there can absolutely impact sleep and energy.
Right. What else?
Be a little wary if everything gets blamed on stress, especially if you tell them you've already tried meditation, yoga, all the standard stress reduction stuff, and you're still exhausted.
Right, like it's a dismissal.
It can feel that way. A good evaluation should be more thorough, and this is sensitive, but be aware of potential conflicts of interest.
Like
Like if a doctor has financial ties, say, owns stock in CPAP machine companies, and seems overly eager to diagnose sleep apnea without exploring all options.
Yeah.
There have even been whispers, like animations of leaked emails, suggesting targets to, increase sleep apnea diagnoses by 22% this quarter.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely something to keep in mind. It's about advocating for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ensuring you get a comprehensive look, not just symptom management.
So the big takeaway here, if you're listening and you're still feeling drained after trying everything,
Yeah.
maybe your body isn't broken. Maybe the system, the conventional advice is what's kind of flawed.
That's certainly a perspective worth considering.
So maybe think about ditching that sleep tracker for a bit. Maybe experiment with that protein-rich breakfast. Listen to your body about naps instead of forcing a schedule.
Small experiments. See what works for you.
And hey, if you've had really unhelpful advice from sleep docs, maybe share your experience in the comments. Let's get this conversation going because sleep, it isn't just a metric to track. It feels more like, I don't know, a biological weapon. You need to take it back.
Subscribe for more deep dives, more hacks that challenge the usual thinking.
Sweet dreams, or, don't worry too much about it.